Ladies and gentlemen, how's it going? What's good with y'all? Welcome to Tapped In Podcast. This is episode number 23. And as you can see, we're coming back after a 2 week break here. Your boy just lost his voice completely. And I'm now recovering. I'm now, sipping that hot tea, trying to maintain my vocal larynx and all this shit at a fine piece. But you know that I got to come back with a new episode. We got to start right on the road, as spooky season finally approaches us, man. We're coming up on 1 year fully on YouTube here for, the Tapped In podcast, which I am very, very excited for that one because there's just so much behind the scenes stuff, so many classics already under our belt. And, I'm just really looking forward to sharing all those memories with you and still pumping out content as we prepare for the end of the year. So this is a really great time to come back and just reassess where we're at because oh boy, are there so many freaks and just absolute weirdos, as you're gonna learn here as we talk about what's been going on through the week. Gotta start it off, man. Gotta start off the pod with just one of those feel good stories, man. Well, not feel good for what happened to him, but just the come up. A 77-year-old Florida man apparently obtained $2,000 worth of erectile dysfunction pills. Now, that's a lot. Like, you could get a good amount of fucking Subway sandwiches with that. That's pretty much a cool bill that you got to pay off. So what did this man want to do? What would a 77-year-old man want to do with EDP pills? Actually, fuck EDP. Erectile dysfunction pills. Let's actually say the thing. Well, he planned on selling them at a retirement business. Now, if you ask me, this man is a goddamn hustler. He is a definition of grit and grind, you know? 77 years old, but it's still my time type beat. Shit. He did plead not guilty. Now, if he's convicted, he is facing a year in federal jail and about a $10,000 fine. Now, listen, I don't know if old man Bobby should be out here slanging the old yee yee, but game is game. Listen, if the man is 77, he's trying to cash in on those on those veteran checks. He's trying to cash in on his fucking whatever amount of money he still has in the safe, whatever money he's being given, you know. Man's up from trying to flip PPP loans and fucking getting his stipend or whatever. He's just trying to make bread. So I don't fault the man. Shit, I would do the same too. What I find more hilarious is the fact that people would be willing to buy this. Like, oh my god, if I found out that my grandpa was slanging dick in the retirement home, I don't know how I'd feel. Like, obviously, I'm like, man, you're a grizzled old veteran. I respect you. I respect your game, Grandpa, but I don't want the image of my old man, slanging the fire truck around. Actually, it'd be like a stick with a turtleneck at this point, right? Listen, maybe this is too much imagery. I'm sorry, but the fact that this man said, you know what, I could be sitting down watching a fucking telenovela, you know, decaying at the thought of reaching 80. But he said, nah, I'm gonna find a way and I'm gonna start giving y'all what y'all need. I'm on some DMX shit. X gonna give it to you. Baby? Like this shit, this is the shit that we're doing. But yeah, I just know that he would have found a market. But of course, the police are some haters and they took my man's venture. I wonder what they did with the erectile dysfunctional pills though. Like, how do you just get rid of them? I would imagine, they start fucking handing them out in their office or whatever. But shouts out to that Florida man. One of the most normal Florida man stories you'll probably hear. Free my mans. But switching gears, we got to talk about NASA. Everybody's favorite space agency, and they apparently are planning on building houses on the moon by 2040. Now, this sounds like a pretty big feat. Of course, 2040 is very far from where we are now at 2023. But I find it hilarious that we have already messed up the Earth so bad in terms of carbon emission, continued waste. I mean, people are still skeptics about climate change and uh, the Earth and the globe's rising heat temperatures. There's still people who don't believe. And at this point, it's like, well, whatever. I guess I can't convince you. You're probably the same type of person who fucking believes the Earth is round or flat or whatever the fuck 3D prism Dorito shape as Earth you want to think of. But also, could you imagine how much rent is going to be? You know, I just know people that are paying child support right now are gonna book their first class flights just to be like, shit, it's my turn to pay this month, isn't it? Damn, you're not gonna believe this, shawty. Like, fucking know, like they'll do anything to not fucking get up, get up on them fucking money shits that they gotta send out. But hey, man, it doesn't sound like a bad idea. I wouldn't mind living in space, but they gotta find a way to not fuck things up. You saw what happened to the people who try to relive fucking Titanic times. They got schmirked, and as fucked up as it is, like they already planned their fucking, they already planned like a movie or a documentary about it, which is like, damn, it hasn't even fucking been a year. It has not even been a full fucking year, and you're already coming out with a documentary about it. That's fucked up, you know. But yeah, getting into space, man, like, do you get to choose your neighbors? Do I get to choose who I do not want to be on my fucking house? Like, wouldn't my shit just float away at one point? How the fuck are you gonna nail the house down? Wait, I have so many questions now. I didn't give the listen. When I read this, I wasn't giving it much thought, but now I got some logistical questions. Like, if I'm in space, I would just be floating, wouldn't I? Because no gravity. Like, I don't have grass. I don't have. I mean, I would have. I could never take off my space suit, right? Why the fuck would I want to be in space? What the fuck? Never mind. Fuck this. I wasn't even. I really gave it some thought. Now that I can think clearly, you know what? I don't want to go to space. Why are you building houses? Listen, this got to be some rich people shit. Like you got to be so rich and so bored. I just know Elon Musk is somewhere, dripping his panties about wanting to fucking rent a house for $4 million in the fucking space. But whatever floats your boat, I guess. You know what would be funny if you're out there in the void of emptiness that is the space, the space world, and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna order a pizza and just watch him struggle as the 30-minute rule keeps winding down. It's like, well, fuck it, man. Just throw that shit up there. Be like Walter White when he fucking, he threw the pizza at the roof and it just got up there. Do the same shit, but, from Earth and send it over. There's got to be workarounds. But I got to talk about this man. This man, every day, he is the definition of every day we stray further from God. Like, this man cannot be real. Kevin Gates spit in the mouth of a pregnant man. Now, in Kevin Gates' slight, slight, and I really cannot like emphasize how much of a slight I really mean. His slight defense, the pregnant fan was like super for it. I mean, she was thirsting for that Kevin Gates clout, you know. But like I said, Kevin Gates, just I refuse to believe is a real human being walking among us. Like this man is not human. Uh, do y'all remember when he had that interview by academics and he was like, "May God kill my children right now if I'm lying." But I did jumpstart a car with my bare hands. I'm like, even if it's a real thing, and by the way, it's not. You just fucking can't. Why would you say that? Why would you put that energy out into the universe? What the? It was the fact that he said it so nonchalantly. He's like, "May God kill my children today, right now." Like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Why are you so adamant about this? And not only that, the, the fucking interview that he had with Charlemagne with when he gets asked like, "Oh, what was the question?" I don't even remember, but it was like, "Oh, would you ever hit a woman?" I think, and he's like, "I've never been disrespected by a woman, but if a woman ever tried it, Lord, watch out!" Like, what the? Ah, this man does not give a fuck. This man does not care, bro. This motherfucker is just insane. I've never listened to his music like that. I only know that one popular song that he has, Two Phones. I got two phones, or whatever the fuck it's called. That's the only frame of reference that I have of fucking Kevin Gates. I have no idea that this was his fucking personality. This man is a freak, bruh. Did y'all not see the man's fucking concert? The motherfucker was humping the fucking air, bro. He, he's a dick up on your stomach and he just fucking starts dry humping the shit out of the air, bro. That's gotta be a criminal offense. I don't know for what, but it just has to. That man is too horny, bro. Oh shit. What the fuck? Kevin Gates, man. You gotta relax, bro. Oh shit, man. Speaking of relaxing though, I know somebody who's not relaxing, and that is the police. So the news story here is that a police arrest a man using a Chucky doll in order to threaten people. Now, the man's name is Carlos. We didn't get a last name, but it appears that he was brandishing a real knife in the hands of a Chucky doll in the city of Monclova. And he was arrested for endangering the public. And not only was this man handcuffed, but he was also handcuffed along the doll. And apparently, the police took both of their mugshots. All I can say is the police are taking, every precaution because, well, this happened here, man, and bro is taken based on a true story too seriously. Listen, us Mexicans don't take paranormal shit lightly. If we see anything that looks slightly off, best believe we're throwing some fucking holy water. We start pulling out the Bible, we start praying immediately. You know, it's like, fuck, am I gonna do with this demonic shit? And that's how my mom was, man. Every fucking time. She hates Halloween. Halloween is my favorite time of the year. Halloween is my favorite time of the year because it's one of those seasons where I'm too old to fucking trick or treat, obviously, but I'll still get a costume here and there, still try to scare the children. I like competing with the neighbors and trying to see who can fuck up their house the most. Fucking little spider webs and all these creepy animatronics sitting in the front lawn and shit. I like that. I live for that. But yeah, my mom hates it because she hates ghosts, man. And I already told you guys quite a while ago. My dad has a thing against the mythological side of Mexico. Man, they hate La Llorona, the fucking duendes, all this shit that you would learn about fucking Mexican folklore and whatever. They absolutely detest it, and I just find it very funny that Chucky is still as prominent as it is for them. You know, hey, you can never go wrong with taking precaution. After watching Annabelle, I was scared as shit. Because I was pretty young when I watched, and I had a fucking teddy bear. I had like this fucking the most adorable blue teddy bear that like wouldn't even be harmful if it ever came to life. But I was like, fuck that. I'm never fucking trusting anything again. And that became my whole thing as I was growing up. I was just petrified of stuffed animals, which is hilarious because my sister's fucking room is just littered with them. But it is what it is. I'm glad they got the Chucky doll, man. You don't know what evil juju or fucking vibes the things got. So, but speaking of vibes, Young Thug Apparently, he has his little iPad and he's playing Candy Crush to pass the time in jail. Free thugger, man. What can we say? But not for real. He's one of the soccer moms now. Officially, he's become an auntie now. Why does every Mexican mom that I know automatically just have Candy Crush on their phones? I mean, it's I swear to God, it's like legal cocaine at this point. And they're always on level 1,000, 1,000 plus. I didn't even know that you could get that high. My mom showed me, like, so I knew my dad had an addiction because he showed me his phone. He was like, "Oh, look where I've gotten." He made me download it. He wanted to compete, see who could get to more levels the fastest. I show him, I'm like, "Oh, look, Dad, I'm on level 30. This motherfucker was on level 1,000 something, and he had to stop because they just hadn't released new fucking levels yet." Like, how the fuck do you do this? Like, like this man, I barely see this man sometimes because he works so much. And then when he comes back, he's just on the couch. I'm like, okay, you're here for a couple hours, but like, god damn, so much productive time that could have gone somewhere else. But yeah, man, Candy Crush is like top free phone app that you could ever have. I'm more of a word search type of guy, but if it's not fucking those types of games, I'll certainly hop on the Candy Crush. Maybe Clash of Clans if I'm feeling spicy, but other than that, I'm not really that big of a mobile player. How about you guys? What do you fuck with on Android, of course, because fuck iPhone. Uh, I always got to take a dig at iPhones, man, because they always got the coolest shit. But you know what? I'm glad I have an Android because I can jailbreak the shit out of it whenever I feel like it, and I think that's what matters the most. But moving on, we got to talk about Netflix. Apparently, they are preparing to open stores in 2025. And guess what the name is? Bada boom, bada boom. Let's get our fucking drum roll. For this original creative name, it's called Netflix House. And in the Netflix House, fans can play, shop, and ultimately eat. There are two venues scheduled to be revealed in 2025, and their goal is to be able to expand worldwide. Listen, this sounds like a good time. Take out your family, take out your significant other, take out your friends, whoever you might want to, binge a whole series with. But all I'm saying is that this shit's gonna be expensive. I can imagine that you have to drop a ridiculous amount of money to get inside. Fucking overpriced food. It's gonna be like a fucking Dave and Buster's with a bunch of shit. Fucking you got your fucking machines in there. It's like, oh, but instead of like fucking prizes that you would normally get at a fucking Dave and Buster's, it's like, oh, you want a 2-month membership or whatever the hell. You got a discount now. I don't know. I'm just saying that you can do all this shit at home. You don't have to fucking go to the Netflix house to fucking watch something or eat a meal with the family. But I like their attempts, I guess. It reminds me of Blockbuster. It's sad that I'm gonna mention Blockbuster, and a lot of the younger people who watch this are gonna be like, "What the fuck is a Blockbuster?" And that's ultimately very sad because 2004, that's when I was born. It wasn't super popular, let's say. Like it was still kind of popular, but it wasn't like super ultra what it was, back in the 90s or whatever. But Blockbuster was a place where, if you did well in school and, your family was one of those families that on a nice brisk Friday or maybe a sunny afternoon on a Saturday, you go throughout the week to Blockbuster and you pick out and rent a movie. And then you'd be like, oh, let's sit around with the family and eat some fucking popcorn or whatever. And, you'd have a good time. So I understand that. So I'm pretty like okay with the Netflix house. But Netflix, this is just like a way to get more money, and I'm a little pissed at Netflix because not only are they cracking down on fucking people who share accounts, and you don't have your own subscription, give it back, that's my bite type shit. Like, they are really the juggernauts of the industry. I mean, there's so much juggernauts that they booted out blockbusters. Like, that's how popular they are, and that's the influence that they have. And what we saw is that Netflix doesn't necessarily like to pay their actors that much. They don't pay them enough or what they're warranted, what they actually should be paying them. So this comes off as, hey, we're trying to reestablish our image as, the company that's for the people, that's for the families. The very PG goody two shoes were so nice. We bring everybody together type beat of, of Netflix. That it's like, well, you've kind of become a dick. Like, not to lie, you become a dick because you're cracking down on this. You're forcing people to get subscriptions. I believe that they're even coming out, or there were rumors about something of, you have to pay even extra. We're gonna, up the prices because economy shit. Like, what? What the fuck? So all I'm saying is that the Netflix house sounds fun, I guess. Certainly something that you could do at home by yourself, if you wanted to. But I guess it's a cool concept to explore. I don't know. What do you guys think about it? This story is just very interesting because, taking the perspective of both sides, as we will see, you kind of feel like you understand, but at the same time, it's like, why the fuck would you do this? The story is about a Louisiana honor student who has a 4.2 GPA, and apparently they are losing that scholarship. The story is about a Louisiana honor student with a 4.2 GPA who is now losing their scholarship after apparently twerking at a homecoming after party. This honestly is on the same level of, how the fuck do you get fired on your day off from Friday? Her name is Kaylee Timoney, a senior at Walker High School, and apparently a video of her twerking made the rounds on social media. Now, she did not post or take the video herself, but she was caught in the act. She was caught red-handed, if you will. Now, she was also the Student Government Association president, and she was ultimately removed from that position after the videos got out. Now, like I said, this is such an interesting thing because, as we talked about, she wasn't the one that filmed it. But at the same time, I do understand that there's a certain regard that you are held with when you're being financially backed up. But to me, this just feels like they're beating her up with the mighty stick of power to show an example of, of what happens when you don't act accordingly. And while, I understand that, I completely do. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever been around a college, or let alone a college party, but they be doing more than twerking out there, if you know what I mean. And then I think back to my experience at high school. At my high school, bro, there were girls literally out there throwing ones, fives, and tens as these chicks were dropping it down low. So I understand, but damn, that's pretty fucked up, you know what I mean? Like, you worked so hard to get to the position that you're at. Obviously, she sounds like she is advancing well academically. She sounds very active and proactive with like different events at the school, associating in these clubs and organizations. Like, she is being proactive. She's really trying, because fucking colleges, man, they make a long list of demands. Especially if you're trying to go to these very high ranked, prestigious, and very well established universities. They have a wide range of things that you need to be a part of, to be considered a student there. Very lucrative. And so with that, especially with financial backing, as she had a scholarship, you're kind of contractually obligated to follow their guidelines. And if your behavior exhibits something that, if you don't represent what they are trying to showcase, then they'll just cut their losses and move on. It's really unfortunate. In my opinion, she was just, I mean, it's harmless. I don't really, I mean, people twerk, obviously. Um, Influences, I guess. But to lose your whole future because of it, like that is petty. And also the fact that she got removed from her position in school, like that is now just going overboard, I feel like. I'm not, listen, I understand like there has to be consequences for the actions that you commit, but this is one of those things where I think everything was blown out of proportion and people at the school were just dragging her through the mud at a certain point because it didn't become of just, oh, you did this, you're having a good time or whatever, but now you're going to lose everything that you've worked for. So I guess it's really one of those situations where it's really unfortunate, but at a certain point you have to realize that, hey, there's people out here who are backing me, and I need to be like a model. Even though I do agree she's a fucking teenager, bro. Just let them do what they want to do as long as it's not like fucking disrupt. I mean, there's fucking people who have lost their whole reputations and careers from just being racist. Like, how many times have you seen where, oh, just wait until your school finds out what you've said, or you've seen the videos of people getting their whole fucking education just taken from them because they get dropped from the schools because they find out that they said something years ago. It's I think people know what they're doing, but there are certain things that you definitely can look at as maybe like a slap on the wrist or like, hey, don't do that again, like a reprimand. And others that they did this and they fucked up real bad. So I understand taking certain privileges away from them. In this case, I don't feel like she has done something that warrants such an extreme measure, like taking away their scholarships and taking away their position at school, to happen. And hopefully, she'll be financially set, however she can be, to whatever school she wants to go to. Because, like I said, that's unfortunate. But like the DJ said, the DJ gave his comment on her doing that, and he said, "Well, I've certainly seen worse. Like I've seen people do worse things when they're out dancing, or not just in general dancing, but just when they think that there's nobody watching. There's definitely more reason to lose scholarships for than just fucking twerking, and it's unfortunate that it really cost her future. But like I said, hopefully she can bounce back. And speaking of bouncing back, everybody's favorite NBA player, the one that you would think after getting cut by the Memphis Grizzlies would be playing overseas, maybe in the Taiwan League or wherever the fuck Dwight Howard is playing. Of course, everybody's favorite player, Dylan Brooks, the Rockets forward. If you saw the preseason game, he was ejected after he made what people want to believe is unintentional, but let's be honest, it's Dylan Brooks, and he definitely knew what the fuck he was doing. But he ended up getting ejected because he hit Daniel Thice in the wee wees, in the crown jewels, if you will, and he will be fined $25,000 for making excessive contact with him. After he was ejected, they do the interviews or whatever, and he says, "Oh, that's why people call me Dylan the Villain. Nobody calls you that. The fuck are you talking about?" Man's nicknamed himself. But getting fined for a preseason game is just fucking ludicrous. It's absolutely crazy. And speaking of crazy, this NBA season is going to be absolutely fucking nuts. You thought Damian going to Milwaukee was something. But I think people are underestimating just how good the Celtics are going to be. I mean, you're adding Drew Holiday, who to me is a step up from Malcolm Brogdon. You know, you're adding Drew Holiday, and it just makes the defense on that Celtics squad just more and more honed in. I can imagine the Celtics meeting the Bucks, maybe even in the Eastern Conference Finals. That would be something to watch. Seeing if Giannis, decimates them, or if Drew and the Celtics are just that fucking talented. It's gonna be great. I just find it hilarious that Damian Lillard had a fucking diss track to Portland immediately after being traded. But talking about he's a trailblazer, he did all this shit. It's always sad, man. Because let's be honest, Portland had so many opportunities and tries with him. They had so much time. This man was so loyal to the fact that it became like, okay, man, we get it. You won't leave. You, Steph, Giannis, like you've been franchise cornerstones for so fucking long. We get it. He's like, nah, I'm addicted to that hustle. I'm addicted to that grind. I'm gonna stay here and get the city, a championship. And though you love to see it, the NBA is a business, and at some point, you just can't take that disrespect anymore. Instead of going out and getting players to play alongside Dame, what did they do? They re-signed, Jeremy Grant, which is fine. Like Jeremy Grant isn't bad, but it takes more than Damian Lillard and fucking Jeremy Grant to get you a chip. And you would have thought that, hey, we have the third draft pick here. We're probably gonna, shop it around. We're probably gonna find a better deal for it. But they're like, nah, fuck that. We're gonna fucking draft Scoot Henderson, which, could be at the end of the day could be a good gamble. But it also costs you your franchise player. And then it was the whole drama of him going to Miami. He's like, nah, I don't want to get traded nowhere else. If it's not Miami, I ain't going. And he's throwing that fit. Then he tries to like bring it all back because they couldn't get the deal done, and now it's like, nope, too late. You're gonna get chopped, and he ends up in probably the best scenario he could have thought of. Like, obviously, it's not Florida, it's not Miami, and it's not playing with Jimmy Butler, but like the Giannis and Dame combo is just going to be fucking nasty. You got somebody who can shoot it from all the way out. You have to defend the fucking perimeter. And you got somebody who's just gonna fucking cave your face in if you stand in his way. You got somebody who's a fucking human fucking tank in Giannis. So I'm really excited to watch Milwaukee. I think they're gonna do great. Obviously, Dame is not the defender that Drew is, but they still have Brook Lopez, and you know he can probably do something. But yeah, I'm very excited. But fuck Dylan Brooks, fuck Houston, they're cursed, and fuck Kevin Porter Jr. The fucking woman beater. But switching topics here, we have to talk about a bus driver. Now, this bus driver has cancer, and there's been a whole dilemma here because apparently she was accidentally drunk, and this ultimately cost her her job. Now, the woman's name is Amal Hanna, and she is a 60-year-old bus driver who, again, is fighting cancer, and she claimed to have not known that she was drinking alcohol. Now, you're probably wondering why is the fact that she has cancer being brought up here, but from the research that I've been able to make, when you undergo chemotherapy, when you undergo through chemotherapy, and maybe somebody could verify this, apparently this can ultimately affect a person's taste. So this probably could be a potential reason for why she didn't taste the alcohol, and I think that's just really unfortunate. I think it's unfortunate in and of itself that this woman who is fighting and trying just her very, very hardest to face such a life threatening battle such as cancer has to work in general. But when it comes to children, I think that all precautions definitely should and must be taken to ensure that they're not hurt. Obviously, this isn't an ideal situation. I'm sure that she needs the money. I'm sure that, at times like this, she really cannot afford to lose her job. But to a certain extent, I just do agree that, hey, you did put the lives of kids at risk. And, they fire her immediately. But she has garnered a lot of support from parents and the community who ultimately praise her work ethic. They claim that she always gets there on time. She's very punctual. She's very organized. She's a good bus driver. She knows what she's doing. But in situations like these, like I said, you just can't leave it up to chance. There's a reason why people who have medical, you know, medical problems, they don't let them do certain things. You wouldn't let somebody who can't see operate a fucking heavy ass machinery when you know the potential risks. Now, I'm not saying that she needs to be alienated from being able to work because she's having cancer, but I do believe that if it's something that ultimately affects the way that you are able to move and operate, like especially when your job is to drive children back and forth, like yeah, we just need to take better precautions. And unfortunately, it does mean that it costs her a job. Now, I do believe that she deserves a second chance, of course. Like she said, I do believe her. I don't believe that she like was trying to lose her fucking job on purpose because she knows that she's fucking dealing with kids. So in my mind, it's not about, oh, she did this on purpose. She wanted to use it as an excuse. No, I really do believe her story because just from the research that I was able to do, like it does affect you. I can't make an inference. I can't just put things out into the ethos and say, well, that's the reason. But I'm fairly certain that that is what it is. Ultimately, I really do hope that she finds a job and she doesn't have to struggle too much because, God have mercy. Certainly, fighting a bigger battle here is the bigger picture. And like I said, she shouldn't even be working. To be honest, I do know that a lot of people just don't have the financial backing to be able to afford things like chemotherapy. So maybe that's why she's doing it. Hopefully, she can stay strong. But I think this was the right move, even if we emotionally feel like she made a mistake. At the end of the day, these are children, and they have to be protected. They cannot be protected when the bus driver is drunk and can potentially end in a car collision or even worse. So it is unfortunate. It is really sad on both sides, but I think the school made the right decision. Whether you agree, disagree, that's definitely to be discussed. But speaking of discussion, somebody take fucking Jada Smith's microphone away. Who the fuck keeps interviewing Jada Smith? I am tired, 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 fucking tired. Nothing has made me more sad than just reading and reading Jada Smith controversies. At this point, I'm just so sorry for Will. So, Jada Smith has apparently called Tupac her soulmate. All I know is that if Tupac were here, he'd slap the shit out of her bald head. I don't know. I mean, Tupac wouldn't do that, of course, but like he'd obviously say something about this because there's no way she's still out here cucking fucking Will Smith. Like what the fuck are we doing? The story is just getting more and more ridiculous. You know, and apparently her and Will haven't even been together for a while. And somewhere along this timeline, according to Jada Smith, Chris Rock apparently heard the rumors that, she was single. And apparently Jada states that Chris Rock shot his shot. And he fucking missed. Because Jada was like, hey, I'm not single. and I'm not divorced. But then this fucking begs the question, what the fuck was the slap for? I didn't understand it then, and I most definitely don't understand it now. Will Smith got up and he was like, "Keep my wife's name out of your goddamn mouth," and then boom, Chris Browned his ass. You know, but apparently it was like, well, your wife, buddy, is not your wife because you're trying to get a divorce. You're not together. You're separated. The fuck is going on, man? Why are you defending somebody who keeps airing your dirty laundry out to the public? He's making you look like a fool. He's making you look fucking crazy. You know? All I know is that J. Cole bar aged like fucking milk. We no longer want that Jada and that Will love. Fuck that. Jada is for the red table. Not the streets. The red table. It's just so sad, man. Because I like Will Smith. Like I really do. Up to the slap, he was the embodiment of positivity. He just radiated, warm vibes. Like I really fuck with that. Because in such a landscape where there are not a lot of good role models, it's like, hey, you know what? Will Smith, he's a pretty cool guy. And Shark Tale is one of my favorite fucking movies when I was a kid, so it's even more there. But Chris Rock, he's a comedian. He's gonna pop jokes. He's gonna try to get you to laugh. He made a joke about fucking bald ass Jada Smith, and he got slapped for his troubles. And then what happens? Jada doesn't even back him up. He's like, "Yep, that's right. That's my man backing me up. That's my man's, you know, standing up for me and shit." She's like, "What the fuck are you doing, Will?" She even said that when Will Smith got up and he slapped Chris Rock, Jada said that she thought it was a skit. What the fuck are we fighting for, man? Why the fuck are we standing up for this bald headed women? You know? Why? G.I. Jane, man. Just ruining this man's career little by little. Interview by interview. It just keeps getting worse. I know for a fact Tupac would not stand by this. She claims that it was like always brotherly, sibling type of love, but then she's like, nah, that's my soulmate. Nah, like that's my brother, but I love him and all this messy, turbulent shit. The fuck are you doing to my man, Will? You're killing me out here, type beat. Hopefully, I know Will probably wishes the whole fucking Margot Robbie close-up scenes would be real life. Anything than this, man. Fuck, man. Just Jada Smith just gets on my goddamn nerves. Every single fucking time that I read something, it's just like it just progressively gets worse. It's like every time I read, it just progressively gets worse. Like, what else do you have to reveal? Just stop it. My man's is already dead. You've killed him, son of a bitch. The fuck? Oh my god. But speaking of revealing, a new study reveals that female frogs will fake their own death to avoid unwanted attention from males. From the swamps that she emerged into the cemetery she will go. But nah, this is actually really hilarious. Like I don't think you guys understand how funny that fucking headline is because I can just imagine like you're on a fucking date with someone you're crushing on and you think that it's going well. You think that you're about to score, that you're about to hit a home run, and you're like, "Oh man, she totally likes me. She totally, she found this as a success. This is going so well." Only for you to turn around and see that the woman you're with is just slumped over, pretending to be dead. I mean, I would just kill myself. like, like at that point, dude. Like, what the fuck? Like this, you gotta walk up to your homies. Like, I don't know, man. This is like the fifth time this happened. What the fuck? You know, it's like the worst you can say is no, but like -10, cause Because at least you know that she's not interested. But like this, like what the fuck? I've heard people who have told me that they they'll do all types of weird shit to get out of situations. Of course, if the no doesn't work the first time, it's like, whoa, yo, what the fuck? But some women, pretend to go to the bathroom. They're like, oh, I forgot something in my car. I'll be right back. And boom, you never see them again. No species is safe. But honestly, that's not even the worst rejection I've heard. I mean, obviously, faking your death is wild, but nature's nature, baby. This is real life. Uh, I got to talk about this one. I have a friend. She and I went to different high schools. And our senior year, you got the prom or whatever. And one of the biggest tradition is always that promposal. It's what separates the men from the boys, if you will, because you have to have the big footballs to publicly invite somebody, and you gotta fucking make sure that they say yes, because if not, it's gonna be awful. Anyway, she told me that at her school there was a guy who was crushing on her, and before even speaking to her, before even making conversation, he just said, "Fuck it. You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow," type beat. And he said, "I'm gonna fucking instead of just asking if she's even going, I'm just gonna ask her out to the prom for real." And so she tells me that she's walking to a class and she just gets stopped. But by the way, the setup is crazy because the guy, in order to get her attention, you'd think that he just like tap her on the shoulder or call out her name or some shit. But man trips over and he falls on his face. He breaks his glasses. And apparently he's like, no, 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 it's part of the act, it's part of the thing. Like he's trying to get people to fucking believe him, but like deep down, I'm like, I don't think so. I think he fell for real. But anyway, he gets her attention through that, and he like, he does the promposal, and they have a really, really big crowd. Like everybody in the hallway, even the teachers, like, oh, that's so sweet. My friend never had intentions of going to the prom. My friend didn't even have the intention of saying yes. But she is one of those people who, God bless her heart, she's an angel. She doesn't want to embarrass people. She doesn't want to like turn something bigger than what it needs to be. So in order to not hurt this guy's ego, she says, "Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. I'll go to the prom with you." And like everybody's cheering, the good guys won, the end credits are rolling and shit. But like I said, she has no intention of going. She's just saying yes. So this poor bastard doesn't get his heart broken, in front of everybody. And she asked for my help. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how you get out of this. And she says, fuck it, I got an idea. And I text her the next day and I'm like, so what ended up happening? This bitch pulled up in a fucking wheelchair. She has never hurt herself a day in her life. She's the type of person, she thinks she's dying when she gets a paper cut. Like that is the type of person that she is. But nah, she starts wheeling her way up to this guy's fucking house. And she knocks on his door and is like, hey, I'm so sorry. I know this is such bad timing, but as you can see, I fucked up my leg. And she's trying to put on a show, right? She's trying to show this guy's like, no, I really can't go. Like, I know this sucks so much, and you're such a sweet guy, but I'm sure you're gonna find somebody else to go with. And she just wheels her way out. And she's like, boom, done with that situation. I outsmarted him. But if you're gonna commit to a bit, you might as well just continue until the fucking prom is over. Cause they ended up meeting each other at a fucking Walgreens just on fucking random luck or unfortunate luck if you're rooting for her. And she described it as all life was lost in his eyes. That innocence was gone because the guys see that she's walking all fine and dandy, and it's only been 2 days after she wheeled up on his house to tell him that she wasn't going, and he's like, "Oh, you bastard!" Like She says he mouthed something and then just walked out, didn't even buy anything. He was so pissed. But hey, the worst she can say is no, right? What depths are you able to go to? You know, are you putting in that work? What are you willing to do to avoid unwanted attention? She for real a frog for all the frogs. She got that frog in her. But yeah, man, that's tough. And speaking of tough, apparently there are zombie viruses waking up, which sounds like a movie. It sounds like a horror film, but we got to break it down, and we got to break it down like this. A new study by microbiologist Jean Marie Allen Pick looked at samples from Siberia, and apparently they awoke 13 new viruses, including one that remained infectious more than 50,000 years ago. This is the biggest fuck around and find out moment that we could possibly have. Now, a lot of people, you know, are probably saying, hey, man, why are we fucking with something that we probably don't need to? Like, if we didn't know that if they are being awakened now, that means it must have been dormant before, right? Well, not really. Those viruses apparently have been, awake this whole time. It's just that we now have seen that they can be located somewhere, and so they study them, and they do what they can to see its effect. Now, before you panic, it's being referred to as zombie virus because the viruses have been revived, after being dormant for so long. So don't worry about thinking that you're gonna become a zombie's personal happy meal just yet. I say yet because we don't know what might happen in a couple of years. I mean, shit, who could have seen the pandemic coming? Who could have seen, fucking quarantine and all these fucking atrocities that came right after that? Um, but yeah, if we for real had a zombie outbreak, I think people would be clapped more than they even know. Like people think, oh man, I've seen enough survival shows to get out of this. But listen, man, when everybody's in a panic, y'all just become dumb. When everybody's in a frenzy, people just do not give a fuck. They will attack any and everything they see in their way. And unfortunately, we don't have a lot of smart individuals. So a pretty good amount of them are going to become a happy meal, whether they like it or not. But Zombieland is fucking goated. I felt it. I felt it when Tallahassee was destroying every zombie in the store to find him a goddamn Twinkie. It's the little things in life that give you meaning, baby. But in all seriousness, I don't even think I'd survive a zombie attack, man. I shit pretty often. Like, I'm not saying that I would shit because I'm scared. I'm just like saying that I would shit just because I have to. Like, it's not like a medical problem. It's like, shit builds up. I don't I don't know what to tell you. So automatically I'm at a disadvantage because at one point I'm just bound to get clapped like Elvis on the fucking John, and that's not the way to go out. Not on a porta potty, man. So very unfortunate for me. I start off with negative 20 speed, so I don't think I'm surviving. And if you're somebody who fucking feeds off coffee, like people who feed off coffee, energy drinks, and Red Bull, you know, I don't think you're making it either, man. That caffeine is gonna fucking come back to bite you in the ass. And that's you. That's you getting clapped by a fucking zombie. What about the food shortages and fucking all these other things that we don't even think of? I think people are doomed way more than they fucking realize. But our advantage hopefully is that zombies are fucking slow and that they don't actually want to eat us that badly that they're willing to do anything that they can. As long as they're not able to use guns, I think we're okay. Just grab you a nice little steel chair, go WWF mode on them, and just start swinging and hope for the best. Would you survive a zombie attack? Is this something that that you would be able to tell your grandchildren about? I swear to God, I'm gonna have flashbacks like fucking PTSD veteran war annihilated my fucking brain esque. type of flashbacks whenever my kids, I'm sitting in my chair and they're like, "Oh my God, Dad, can you help us with the essay?" And I'm like, "Sure, what's up?" And they're like, "Oh, uh, we don't have toilet paper." I just hear from the other room, and I was like, "God damn it!" I just start flipping out and shit, making noises. That's how it's gonna be in the future. Uh, so that's a wild transition. But speaking about the future, somebody who is living in the past, Dolly Parton. Apparently, it was revealed that Dolly Parton does not give out her phone number. Because if you're trying to reach Dolly Parton, you don't get to her through fucking Instagram DMs. You don't get to her through Twitter DMs. You gotta contact her via fax. What type of Flintstone age obsolete machinery is this? But in all honesty, though, like that sounds like a peaceful way to live. I would love that. Bring back smoke signals. I'm with it. Imagine you're sending a long message because fax, from what I'm aware, they sometimes don't come through straight right away. So you better pray that you're not trying to reach Dolly Parton for an emergency or something, because that shit ain't coming. But I think Dolly Parton deserves that. She's reached legendary status, definitely a goat in her own right. To be able to not want to associate with society. Certainly old fashioned. Certainly a old way to live. I bet she still has a landline. Or like one of those typewriters or some shit. That's got to be it, right? But yeah, if you want to reach me, man, make an effort. I think it's a pretty good thing. Like people nowadays will what give you their Snapchat, or not even Snapchat. I think Snapchat's becoming like less popular. But like be like, "Oh, what's your Instagram handle? What's all this?" It's like, "Motherfucker, if you don't take down my phone number and text message me, like treat me like a human being, god damn it." You know? That's the type of vibe I'm on. So, I fucks with that. I fucks with that. But speaking of fucking with that, are y'all fucking with Drake's album? Now, of course, this has been a week now removed. He dropped the album For All the Dogs on the 6th of October this year. 23 songs. Fucking way too much to consume in one sitting, even for somebody like Drake. Fuck, isn't Cuddy dropping like a 40-song album? Get the fuck out of here, man. Listen, you could be my favorite artist. I'm not sitting through 20 plus tracks, especially when they're fucking lengthy. Like Drake's album was just so bloated. I think that the general consensus even is that the album was just too fucking lengthy. And it's not even that, hey, we're getting a lot of music from him. It's that we're getting music that's just subpar, you know? Like you get glimpses of Drake trying and actually sounding hungry. For example, you have Fear of Heights, Daylight, First Person Shooter, 8 p.m. in Charlotte. Like those to me, which are on the first half of the album, they're fucking records where it's like, yeah, Drake is trying. Like he has some actual clever wordplay here. He sounds like ready, like he's out to prove something. Like he's bringing energy. The rest of the album is just him singing, and well, I really don't mind him doing that because that's Drake, and I know what I'm getting when I'm listening to him. I know that I'm getting Instagram caption type bars, so I don't really set that high of a standard. But it's like I think he just got too comfortable. Something about the album just feels empty. Maybe it's been the maybe it's been the oversaturation of the product he's delivering. I think that maybe taking a break, which he's mentioned that he's gonna do, maybe it's not such a bad idea after all. Because you kind of take this as okay, I'm hearing a man who was once a trendsetter trying to keep up with trends. You have features from Yeet and Tizo Touchdown. Yeet, it just doesn't fit the vibe that Drake has. Like, I'm not even saying that the track was bad. I'm saying that it just cohesively it doesn't fit what the fuck the album is about. Like cohesively, I don't understand how the track fits into the whole thing. I think he just has the fucking song doesn't even sound like a Drake song. It's a Yeet song featuring Drake, even though Yeet is the feature. You understand what I'm saying? And it's like cool. Like I'm not saying that you can't have collaborations with these people. It's just at what point do we see it as, oh cool, collaboration, to oh cool, I'm trying to tap into that realm. I'm trying to appeal. When does it become, oh cool, I'm having a collaboration, to now, oh yeah, that rap group or that rap audience likes that certain sound, so I'm going to go appeal to that group. And it's not about like, oh, I'm really trying to expand this. It's no, I'm trying to capitalize. The same with Tizo. Tizo's hot right now. He's gone on a fucking streak since last year. He was on Tyler's album. He was on the Paris, Texas album. He was on West Side Boogie's album. He was on Travis's album. Like he was really big everywhere. And it's like, I think Drake saw that and he's like, okay, I'm gonna have this guy be on my album too. You know. And I'm not saying again that's not a bad thing, but it just seems so out of place, especially the Sexy Red feature. Listen, it's not for me. Sexy Red's music just ain't for me. I'm just gonna say that. If it's for you, cool. I'm glad you have something to look forward to. But that song's like, what the fuck are you talking? Shake that ass for Drake? The fuck? I ain't trying to hear all that shit. Like SZA's part was fine. It was pretty good. But then it's like the whole majority track is just Sexy Red, and it just sounds like he's just trying to capitalize on the fact that she's hot, the fact that she's liked, the fact that she's on the streak right now, which again goes back to that argument that I made. Are we seeing a trendsetter who's now just trying to keep up with trends? To me, that's what it feels like because this shit feels heartless. It doesn't. It just feels soulless. It feels like he's not giving it what he has. I mean, there are certainly songs where he's like singing where it's like, okay, that's fine. Like, Tried Our Best is a standout for me. Like, I love that track. It's fucking good. But it's like, it just sounds so lazy. The features sound lazy, dude. If it's not, J. Cole showed up and he ate. He tore up. That's why he had to have that fucking extra verse because he knows people would be like, oh, fuck. J. Cole washed the Drake on that shit. But it's like, damn, you know? We could have done better, bro. Overall, it's an okay listen. Uh, how does it compare, in my opinion, to Her Loss? Like, certainly there was more energy on Her Loss. The 21 feature on this fucking album, the newest one, For All the Dogs, just to me has been the worst collab they've ever fucking made. The majority of the track, like an hour, not an hour, like a minute and like 30-ish seconds of that woman just complaining about the trip. It's like it just took away from everything. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? You just wasted the man's fucking verse. A build up for nothing. But yeah, that's my take on it. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Definitely let me know. What is Drake's best album? What do you think the no actually what do you think is Drake's last best album? We're going to talk about some actual good news, and that is an 11-year-old boy who saved a classmate from choking and a woman from a house fire, all in the same day. This man is a legend. Well, this boy is a legend. Actually, fuck it. Today, that little boy became a man. This legend, his name is Davion Johnson, and he's from Oklahoma. And apparently, he saw a friend choke at school, where he actually performed the Heimlich maneuver. Now, that's actually pretty fucking impressive because I am not 11 and I don't even know what the Heimlich maneuver is supposed to look like. Now, thankfully, I've never been in a situation where I've needed to perform the move, but I understand that it's an essential thing in life, just like swimming, which I also don't know how to do. Uh, so I implore you to, to the people who are around me, please never start choking in a body of water because it's going to be a bad day for both of us. but specifically more to you because you will decease and I will cry a little, but then be like, damn, I really don't know how to swim. But anyway, the boy on his walk home saw a house fire and he ended up pulling a woman out to safety. My man's got hit with the random side quests, you know? He really did. But thankfully, he left unscathed. And he was, just that guy that day. And he was able to help both people. So shouts out to him. Protect the little bro at all costs. He did his thing. Need more people because listen, there's some people who just would not help. Like in a situation where you could potentially get hurt. And like part of me understands, but a part of me is always like, I'm gonna feel really consciously bad if I do not help you. Like type beat, That's certainly how I feel. I don't know if other people feel that way, but I certainly do. But he's fearless and he's very confident. So, good for him. And speaking of confidence, there is apparently people who are very confident that they have apprehended or even captured the slight glimmer and glimpse of Bigfoot. Now, Bigfoot is a controversial figure. We don't even know if the motherfucker is real or not. But there has apparently been a Bigfoot sighting in Colorado. The photo circulating the internet comes from San Juan National Forest. It's the same. You already know what I'm going to talk about. You already know what I'm going to say. It's the same thing I've said about CCTV footage. It's the same thing I've said about the footage that you see on like the fucking street corners and shit. Why is all the video footage that we take so grainy and wonky? You know? I mean, fuck it. Do you even think Bigfoot would be friendly? Or is he one of them shy boys? You know? Is he one of them I'm shy type of animals? We don't even know what type of animal it is. I think it's a big ass ape. That's it's like if Donkey Kong grew some inches or some shit. Or it could be my uncle, man, fucking hairy as shit. But it all went downhill when they shot Harambe, didn't it? The animal homies don't feel safe no more. They don't want to be looked at. They don't want to be admired or fucking ask questions of where the fuck did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe ass bitch. Yeah. So maybe that's why we don't see fucking Bigfoot everywhere. Even if we did, there's no fucking telling whether he'd be accepting of humans because it's a fucking animal. Or actually, I don't even know what the fuck a Bigfoot is. Like it's just some scary, hairy, blary motherfucker. You know? What the fuck do Bigfoots even eat? At this point, it's got to be who the fuck. Like, what do you think we're gonna see first, an alien or Bigfoot? Like it's got to be some. There's got to be some sort of conspiracy theory. Somebody connect the dots, please. But the last story comes from California, who apparently are launching an ebony alert, and this alert is for missing black women and children. Now, there has been a lot of divide as to if having two separate Amber. Now, there has been a lot of divide as to if having two separate Amber Alerts is a good thing and b pretty racist. Now, the new implementation is focused on ending and unsegregating things, as many people have claimed that the media only responds or reports white missing people. And so this is sort of the thing that's being used to combat that. And while I do think that there are minorities and people who do sometimes get overlooked, even in news reports, I'm not too sure that this solution is going to be the most effective. If the issue that you're tackling is black women and black children aren't being given attention, and it's mainly the news outlets who don't report this, but they rather report on white missing children, I don't believe that having an alert like this is something that's really needed because to me, missing children is obviously gut wrenching and horrible. But the implementation to me just looks like, oh, pay attention to these kids because they're higher priority, which is a fucked up way to look at things, especially with such a topic as missing children. Because of course we want everybody to be found. We don't want people to grieve, and we don't want people to live in doubt and fear that they're never going to see their children again. But if you're coming out with this new Amber Alert, to me it's more about priority and not about like, oh, here are the cases that you don't know of. At least the way that they presented it. It wasn't like, oh, we're doing this in order for you to gain knowledge about all the things that you probably are not aware of. We want everybody to see that these children are also, maybe not being spotlighted enough in the media. So we want to create this in order to bring awareness. And it becomes more like, hey, these kids are more priority driven than these kids over here. Which again, fucked up. Absolutely fucked up. But there has been a lot of black children who do not get the same attention. Like disparagingly in the news. Like you could see it. My hope and wish is that this does ultimately help. We have to be on the lookout regardless for everybody. I don't think people are out here picking and choosing who the fuck gets to be found or not. At least I fucking would hope not. Who the fuck is doing that? And that's really all that I can say on this topic. Uh, I know the divide. I understand it. At the same time, I kind of like I agree, but I don't agree with the way that they present it. But it is needed because there are a lot of children who ultimately go missing that you might not even know about, right? So we definitely do have to do everything that we can to bring them home safely and make sure that they are also being spotlighted. But I do not believe in this whole we should prioritize children. We should prioritize these children as opposed to these children. Are their lives are, fucking important, and things like these just, I think everybody's looking out for everybody and not just targeting one race and just leaving these groups of kids out, at least to my knowledge. Maybe I'm tripping, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but those are my 2 cents. That brings us to the conclusion of episode number 23. Kind of a strong way to end that, but hey, if there's anything to learn, protect your nuts when you're in the NBA games and you're being guarded by Dylan Brooks because he will swing. Okay, and if you ever need to pass the time, just play Candy Crush because that shit goes hard. All right, and don't twerk. All right, because you might get fired. You don't know what the company standards are. You don't know what they will call you out for, and for the love of God, somebody take Jada Smith's microphone away. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. You bald headed